All right, it's the game is the game. I wanted to go ahead and talk about the Colts head coaching search. It looks like it's going to be Shane Steichen, the Eagles offensive coordinator. Congratulations to him. I think he did a fantastic job this season. Nick Sirianni delegated most of the offense to him after last year, where it was a more collaborative effort, and the offense took off. You have to definitely give a lot of the credit to him for the improvement that we saw in Jalen Hurts. There was never a game that I watched that I didn't think that they were not well coached, well coordinated, well schemed. So you definitely have to, give him his props for that. Most teams are going with offensive minded head coaches, he's a good young offensive mind, so there's no problem there. The problem, and it's a big problem, even bigger than the problem that the Cardinals head coaching search has, and check out my video on that, is your boy Jeff Saturday. So Jeff Saturday was the interim head coach, and by many metrics, he was the worst interim head coach of all time. Uh, his record as an interim head coach was one of the worst. He gave up the biggest lead in NFL history as the interim head coach. Several situations where he did not know what he was doing, whether it was calling timeouts. Um, it was a mess. And, not only was he a bad head coach, he was a liar because he said that.
Here's the deal, man. None of us are promised a good job. I may be terrible at this. And after 8 games, I'll say, God bless you. I am no good.
If I'm terrible at this, I'll say I'm no good and I'll go on. But that's not what he did. He threw his hat in the ring and he started saying, hey, if I get the head coaching job, I'm going to do things differently. This is not the way I do things. A guy who's never been a coach, who hopped off the ESPN couch to be an analyst, is saying that he would do things differently. You've never done things to do them differently, but whatever. But you would say, hey, what is the problem with that? He was the interim head coach. They're going in a different direction. That's fine. The problem is that he's still going to be a consultant for the Colts. Shout out to my man Mike Lombardi and the GM Shuffle. And he likes to compare things to the Sopranos. And if you're a fan of the Sopranos, I would compare this situation, what Shane Steichen needs to do, to when Janice was courting Bobby and she made Bobby eat she made him eat the last tray of ziti because she knew that they could never really move forward as a couple if the ghost of his ex-wife was still haunting the house. And I don't think Shane Steichen can truly be successful with the Colts if the ghost of Jeff Saturday is still skulking around in the owner's ear, being an analyst for him. That's what he was previously, and, you could point to Frank Reich having, troubles at the quarterback position, but I think a lot of people were shocked when he did get fired. And, I'm not going to say that Jeff Saturday led to that decision or he knifed him in the back, but it's not surprising that if you have an analyst who is not connected with the coaching staff at all, who has the owner's ear, who is saying, hey, the way that they're doing it is not the right way, I would do it differently, that it would lead to some tension and turmoil, right? And I think that's what's going to happen. Shane Steichen is a young coach. He's going to get some things wrong. They might stumble out of the blocks. The Colts are a very weird team. They are really, counterculture, really iconoclast compared to the rest of the league. They've spent money in positions that you don't spend money in positions on. Spent money, big money in middle linebacker and D tackle and offensive guard, drafted running backs high. It's just the way that they've built their team is a bit of an odd way of doing it. And if you're going to build your team that way and then give it to someone who is a more conventional, mover of the football, in the sense that, hey, it's not just this line them up run game. We're going to try to be multiple. It's going to take time to rebuild that roster, which in turn might mean it might take time for the team to be good. And how can you build? How can you get where you need to be going when you have, Karen Ziti in the freezer? Jeff Saturday whisper in the ear, oh man, they started slow. I told you it would have been different if it was me. So I think Shane Steichen, the number one thing that he has to do to be successful is he has to make sure that the owner is listening to him and the GM, and that's it. They have to, you have to make Jim Irsay eat Karen Ziti. You have to make him get rid of Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday cannot be skulking around the building, moping around, mad that he didn't get the job, knifing people, saying, hey, I would have did this, I would have did that. I think this is a big, huge problem for the Colts, uh, new head coach, and for the Colts fan base and in general, because he's incompetent. Like it would be different if you had, Bill Belichick skulking around and saying, hey, I would do things differently. This is someone that's incompetent, that's so far behind the race, he thinks he's leading it. Again, another Sopranos quote. So I think that congratulations again to Shane Steichen. I think this is a great hire, but I don't think this hire is going to work if Jeff Saturday is still in. Shane Steichen must make his owner eat that last tray of ziti. I mean, I'm not trying to, put food references in to a husky person like Jeff Saturday, but he got to make sure he eat that and get him out of there. It's not going to work if he's, whispering, pillow talking with the owner every time you have a bad situation. All right, let me know what you think. The game's again.